Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. My name is Syahirah binti Kamarujaz.
And my name is Vanessa binti Silis. We are TESOL students from G3.18 and today we will present our Kapasiti Pembelajaran Bermakna KPPB.
And without further ado, let's begin. This KPPB involves two subjects that we took in our third semester in PISMP, which are TSLB 3063 and TSLB 3073.
The duration for this assignment is from the 30th of July until the 18th of August. And the participants involved are G3.18 and 3.19 students. And here are all of our lovely classmates that we have worked together with to complete this assignment.
This is the course learning outcome and objectives for the subject of TSLB 3063.
And here are the course learning outcomes and objectives for TSLB 3073.
Moving on to the big idea of this KPPB, which is connecting the dots through engaging materials and activities. To explain more, our assignments required us to create teaching kits for both subjects that cater to all 4 language skills. Our teaching kits are then compiled together to produce My Teaching Kit. My Teaching Kit allows students to see how the same authentic resource can be exploited for the teaching of different language skills and how materials can be designed more efficiently. It requires students to draw on their knowledge of material selection and adaptation, pupils' need, the learning outcome, and the learning environment. And this is the product where we have compiled our teaching kits on a digital platform called Padlet.com. So, My Teaching Kit is a product which is a compendium of teaching materials designed for use in the primary ESL classroom, including for remedial and also enrichment. Materials in each teaching kits are designed from the same authentic resource, focusing on different skills. It serves as a resource for teachers in the teaching and learning of English as a second language.
As explained by Syahirah, the big idea of this KPPB is to connect the dots through engaging materials and activities. In our challenging journey of creating My Teaching Kit, there are 5 learning activities that have made this process a meaningful learning experience, which are orientation, idea generation, knowledge construction, knowledge reuse, and reflective understanding. Now, let's take a look at the first learning activity, orientation, which involves creating assumptions and connections. So this is the early stages of planning and gathering information we needed to create My Teaching Kit. Let me show you the instructions we have gone through in this learning process. The first instruction is during PBS2, we are to gather information on the challenges teachers face in the teaching of language skills based on one of the aspects below, which are lesson stages, activities, and materials. After that, we are to analyze the information gathered and summarize the findings. The final step is to discern the selection and use of teaching and learning materials from the teachers and connect it with our own observations and experiences. So here are some of the screenshots that prove we have successfully conducted the interview with our teachers by using the Google Meet platform. Besides Google Meet, another alternative is to conduct the interview through WhatsApp voice notes, not forgetting the transcription of the said interview. Hence, these digital platforms allowed us to gather the information we needed in order to complete our assignment.
So, what did we learn from the teachers, you may ask? Well, we have learned many challenges that teachers face in the teaching of language skills such as reading, writing, listening, and speaking, especially during home-based learning, PDPR. The most challenging aspect is producing materials for teaching and learning due to time constraint and lack of resources. This made us understand the constraints faced by the teachers and think of ideas on how materials can be designed creatively, retrieved, and used more efficiently. Besides that, we have also incorporated the deep learning model framework that allowed us to engage in a more meaningful learning. One of them is the student learning model, which highlights the relationship with teachers. From this, we forge relationship with teachers at school when they reach out and discuss real classroom challenges in regards to the use of materials in the teaching of the 4 language skills. The next model is the 3E elements, which is engagement. The task of interviewing teachers and analyzing our own findings allowed us to focus on the task and participate actively. Besides that, one of the 3R elements, which is RV, relevance, is also present in the orientation stage, where since the task was done during PBS, it has provided real-world context that we could compare the knowledge we gained from the resources and textbook to real-world examples. And lastly, these are the digital tools involved in the process, which are Google Meet, telephone, and WhatsApp.
Now, moving on to the next learning activity, which is idea generation. So in order to generate ideas in creating materials for our teaching kit, we have decided to use Kaggle as the main platform to organize, share, and exchange our ideas with one another. So, firstly, in this stage, we have used Kaggle to take notes, brainstorm, and display initial ideas from interviews or observations during PBS on suitable materials to be used in the teaching of the 4 language skills. Then, using the information gathered, we presented a mapping of ideas on engaging materials for different learners, making it easier for us to get appropriate feedback from our group members. So these are some of the products that we have collected from our classmates, in which you will see how we have utilized Kaggle to our benefit in organizing information, from dividing the teaching skills among group members to expanding our ideas to create fun and engaging teaching materials for each of the language skills. Next is the deep learning model framework, in which we have applied the 3 E elements in our learning process. So we have highlighted E2, which is enhancement, since using Kaggle has allowed us to enhance our learning experience through sharing, comparing ideas, and collaborating together effectively in a shared workspace. And of course, we have Kaggle for being the productive digital tool that made all of this possible.
Great! We have now proceeded to our third learning activity called knowledge reconstruction. In this stage, these are the instructions that took place during the process. Firstly, work in pairs to identify an authentic material or resource. Design suitable teaching materials that incorporate the elements of HOTS, current context, and ICT. And lastly, write procedures on how to use the teaching materials for each specific language skills. As we have cautiously followed the instructions, we will now reveal the product of our knowledge reconstruction. We have successfully managed to create a variety of digital products that cater to the 4 language skills. For example, worksheets, where we can assess the students' understanding of the lesson. Here, we have created worksheets for both remedial and enrichment students. We have also created board games, as you can see in the pictures displayed. The board games are incorporated in lessons as one of the teaching materials by considering the use of HOTS and ICT. Besides that, we have also created e-storybooks that aid in the teaching of reading skills. These storybooks help to engage in the students' reading lesson and acquire new vocabularies.
Flashcards are also one of the materials created in my teaching kit to introduce new vocabulary to pupils by providing visual clues to assist them. This is commonly used in the pre-reading stage. Lastly, we have also created a variety of texts which are adapted from our authentic materials, such as reading texts and also song lyrics, to create a fun and engaging lesson in the ESL classroom. Moving on to the deep learning model framework, which involves the 3 R elements. The element that is highlighted in this learning process is rigor. So we have learned that by creating teaching materials from authentic resources and also bearing in mind the lessons learned from the teachers, we need to evaluate this information and apply our own knowledge of the material selection and adaptation in order to create the perfect teaching kit that suits to the individual needs and interests of our pupils. Ta-da! So here are all of the digital applications that made creating fun and engaging materials possible, which are Canva, Woodwall, Padlet, and Flippity.net. Hence, designing materials are much more enjoyable and easier with the help of these websites.
Moving on to our 4th learning activity, where we will discuss regarding knowledge reuse. In this stage, there are only 2 instructions that assist us in completing our teaching kit. The first instruction is to produce my teaching kit composed of materials adapted from an authentic material, including procedures on how to use them in the teaching of the 4 language skills. Then, upload my teaching kit on a digital platform to be shared and to obtain feedback. Tada! This is the final product, which is my teaching kit on Padlet.com. My teaching kit can be accessed by scanning the QR code provided and also going to the link displayed on the screen. Don't worry, we will give you a few seconds to scan the QR code and to open the link to my teaching kit in Padlet. Then, let's proceed to the next slide.
Now moving on to the deep learning model framework, which involves the 3 R elements. The element that is highlighted in this learning process is rigor. So creating my teaching kit required us to become more resilient and focused. It also required us to be more accurate in evaluating significant information to reach decisions and solve problems. As we can see on the slide, here's a screenshot which shows my group members meeting virtually on Google Meet to discuss and brainstorm ideas to solve problems that have arisen in the process of creating our teaching kit. Besides that, the 3E elements also played a part in our deep learning process. So this model highlights extension, where Padlet has allowed us to share the learning process and product outside of our learning context and explore learning opportunities from different contexts and perspectives. Another interesting fact about My Teaching Kit is that it has been looked at and commented by teachers, managing director of Language Center, and a school head both internationally and locally, which provides us with different perspectives to enhance our learning experiences. So these are more evidence of the comments and constructive feedback that we have gathered, where we are able to take these suggestions and improve our materials to be used in our simulated teaching.
We have now come to the last learning activity, which is reflective understanding. After creating our teaching kit, all that is left for us is to reflect on our strengths and weaknesses during the entire process. First of all, read the comments given by teachers and peers on Padlet. Next, write a reflective note regarding what we have learned through the learning process. Lastly, provide constructive suggestions for improvement of the aspect identified. Based on the comments that we have received from our teachers and friends, we use the comments and suggestions to improve our materials. The comments allowed us to reflect on the importance of material design in teaching and learning. The constructive feedback made us more confident to use the materials in our simulated teaching.
So here are some of the examples of our reflections on the meaningful journey of creating My Teaching Kit. In a nutshell, we learned about the importance of considering the needs of students in creating materials, the advantages of using the same authentic materials, and also the benefits of using Padlet as a collaborative platform to gain constructive feedback from others. Now, proceeding to our digital tool, we wanted to give our appreciation towards this reliable and functional digital platform, Padlet, that assisted us throughout the journey of creating My Teaching Kit. Padlet has made it possible for us to stay organized, become collaborative learners, and work effectively to achieve our desired outcome. And with that, we hope that our KPPB presentation provides a fresh insight into the process of creating engaging materials and activities. We have gained and learned a lot from this meaningful experience, as we are able to apply many deep learning concepts in solving real-life problems.
We hope that you enjoyed this presentation as much as we enjoyed preparing it. That is all from us. Thank you and see you next time. Bye!